some talented dudes, and that doesn't surprise me because the more and more we play over every decade, and we have 330, 350 million people, you can net out 10 to 15 guys.
Surely.
And so I still believe, a lot of people don't ever believe that we'll win at a high level. I do. It's just going to take a minute. And these guys are highly thought of. And young.
They are.
Good Lord. I sit there and look at them. I'm like, you're on the U.S. national team. You look like you're in high school.
Yeah.
But, that'll bring a big number. What'd you tell me Friday night?
Yeah, that's Friday night.
Who are they playing?
They are playing. Lord, I just closed it. What?
All right, we're the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I do have a couple of national days. National Egg Roll Day. I love a great egg roll. When you go to a local spot and really, really high quality egg rolls are phenomenal. And we all know it. That's another appetizer that's communal, right? And you're talking and everybody, they usually drop like 4 of them, 6 of them in front of you. It's like wings and all the other things we talk about, fried pickles. That's what makes them fun, nachos. Everybody's picking what they like. All of a sudden, the egg rolls hit the middle of the table, and you're like, now it's a party.
Where do you stand on the like a Southwestern egg roll?
I'm all in.
I love them.
I love several different kinds.
Okay, yeah.
Of egg rolls.
Non-discriminatory against egg rolls. I like.
Oh, yeah. I'm in. And whenever you see them on a restaurant where you're at a good spot, you get fired up.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, that's going to be either, if we're only doing one appetizer, that's going to be it. Or if we're doing several, which is more fun, then that's one of them.
When did they start?
To me, that's what it's all about. You got either 4 people or 6 people, and you get those, or 8, whatever, and you get those appetizers rolling. That gets the conversation rolling. That gets the brain moving, right? A good smell, taste when it hits your tongue. That's why we're into food and culinary. And it doesn't have to be high-end white tablecloth, but just great dive bar food to all the way to elevated dining. Fabulous. It's National Iced Tea Day. I gave up iced tea. I didn't do this. I know this is unbelievable because I think it's like 97% of the South drink sweet tea. And I may have when I was little, but I drank unsweet tea for just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
and couldn't figure out why. I couldn't reboot throughout the day, so I kicked that to the curb a decade ago or so, because I would sip on it throughout unsweet tea throughout the day, and then you realize it anyway.
You did that for the taste?
I think I just did it. I thought it was a good alternative.
Okay.
And
so there was a healthy drive behind that. It was a healthy alternative.
No, not to that point. I don't want to claim that's not where I've gone kind of off the deep end with some of this holistic stuff the last couple of years.
I've never seen you drink tea. Ever.
No.
Not that I can recall.
No.
Ever.
I haven't ordered a glass in probably 10 years.
Of molasses is essentially what it is, because that's how it flows, just slow and thick.
Not really. Unsweet tea's not, sweet tea's not thick.
Sweet. Yeah, sweet. Unsweet tea's all right.
I mean, I guess if you've got enough sugar in it, you can claim it's thick. I don't know. I haven't thought about that. That's an interesting.
Them things are thick.
Do you drink sweet tea?
I do not.
See, that's as much as you're addicted to sugar and you're exactly what America wants.
Sure.
In eating fake sugar, and cereal and all the sweets and all the garbage you have.
Smashed last night.
Yeah. Awful. I bet your cortisol is just, yeah.
We're calloused.
Yeah. Callous my blank. I can't believe you don't drink sweet tea. In fact, I want to know how many of I would think it's 9 out of 10 listening. Yeah. How many, do we want to do a giveaway?
Yeah, I like that.
All right, around FIFA and Ole Miss?
Oh, yeah.
I got an Ole Miss bag cooler.
Well, hey. It's a
I
good
didn't
time
know
to
it,
have it.
until we moved stuff around. Thought we'd given all of them away to our
Oh, the
Ole
red
Miss
one?
listeners. Yeah.
That's a good looking cooler.
All right. We've got one more
That's a heck of a giveaway.
in compliments of Ole Miss making the CWS. Even if you're not an Ole Miss fan, you know an Ole Miss friend. So let's go. On the text line, 601-885-3776, powered by Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. Yes, they have ice cold Michelob Ultra. All right, we'll just make it easy. Are you listening on 105.9 The Zone or streaming the show? Where are you listening from? Do you drink sweet tea or unsweet tea? Or if not, what is your go-to like for in the morning or lunch outside of if you do like a libation? How about that? Is that what's your I know you can. Somebody's already Long Island teas. I know what those. Do you know how many Long Island teas I made as a bartender?
Those don't count.
If I made one, I made 1,000 of them. I made Long Island iced teas and made them and made them and made them.
Does that count?
It had to be one of the top drinks at Que Sera.
Probably. Dude, they're
I'm not
dude.
dude.
I love those things.
Que Sera turned into a different spot after 10:30, 11 at night.
Cool.
I lived it and saw it. And I thought I'd done it all prior to going to work at Que Sera, and then I saw a whole nother ball game. But it was an absolute ton of fun and really good education for a 21-year-old. And I got to bartend.
That's right.
Which means you get to hold court.
That's right.
That's what we do here. We love you, by the way. Thanks for listening to the show. Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We'll give away an Ole Miss bag cooler. I can throw in something else on the other side, but it's good looking. Do we have that little Ole Miss helmet still back there? I got to look, because that'd be cool.
Shot. The bag's dope.
The what are they called? The twirly helmets?
Hover helmet.
Thank you. Damn, I can't believe you pulled that. Find us on X at Bo Bounds and the Key City, Mississippi Queen caller line, 601-707-3750.
Anybody else got any questions about any college jobs? There's not a booster with a big enough blank check.
I think that's my favorite this year so far. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We love you. Good morning. Welcome in. Oh, goodness gracious. The show is brought to you by our friend Matt Anderson at Southeastern Land Group. Big Matt, baby. Done a great job. He's built an incredible business. He knows properties everywhere before they even go on the market. Call Matt Anderson today. Southeastern Land Group. Find your next beautiful piece of property, hunting camp, whatever you're looking for. Combination farm, family land, hunting camp. That's powered by Matt Anderson with Southeastern Land Group, 601-408-5155. I've got some other goodies that I'm adding to the Ole Miss bag cooler. We've got even more bar swag than I thought back there, and Jackson has found like 4 different boxes of stuff, and we want to give it to you. We gave away some great stuff. Was it last week? Because they finally came and got all their bags outside. And so we want to give more away, and we'll do an Ole Miss bag cooler, and then we'll add several things inside the bag cooler. So our College World Series coverage is brought to you by Key City, Mississippi Queen Beer out of Vicksburg. That reminds me of Ole Miss baseball player Brian Petway. How about that? All right, Key City, Mississippi Queen, straight out of Vicksburg. It's delicious beer, super drinkable. It's local. We would love for you to support local. When you see Key City, grab some, see what you think. Mississippi Queen, Mr. Sippy. That's the Pilsner. Mississippi Queen is the blonde. So, got it? So, Mississippi Queen, blonde, Key City, and then Pilsner, Mr. Sippy is the Pilsner. Now, we're giving away an Ole Miss bag cooler with a bunch of other stuff. So I want you to remember the text line, if you would. Dancing Rabbit Golf text line, 601-885-3776. 601-885-3776. This is how you enter, and you could win. We want to know if you're listening on 105.9 The Zone or streaming the show. Thank you for doing both, or either one. Where are you listening from? From Pelahatchie to Natchez to Corinth to Bay St. Louis and all the out-of-state listeners. Thank you. We appreciate it. We're doing this around sweet tea. You had a couple of questions. We just want to know if they drink it or like it, sweet or unsweet tea. But you had a couple of things that you could add to the third question.
Yeah. Tell us your favorite type of sweet tea. I mean, because, McAllister's.
They built their brand in 1994 or whatever year that was. Right. And then they had really taken off by 96, 98. That's a great point. I had a friend of mine work in their real estate division. So he would go when they were booming in 97, 8, I'm just guessing. He was down in Florida and all these places picking out their next spot to go.
Tight.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you got, because you got Milo's sweet tea, and that's usually a
huge
crowd
name.
favorite. Yeah, massive.
Is that, I don't know because I don't keep up with it, but
it's the go-to.
Is that the number one brand in the SEC footprint?
I would have to.
Okay.
Yeah, unless, because it's available in stores, right? Like you can't just walk in and grab a whole, I'm sure some stores have McAllister sweet tea, but not as much as they have Milo's.
Right.
It's not as prevalent.
Right.
But, McAllister's built theirs. Now, Sonny's Barbecue.
Aladdin's tea?
Aladdin.
Oh, the wonderful restaurant on Lakeland.
Do have very
local.
good tea.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
They do have very good tea.
So how are we going to frame this thing up? Just what's your favorites?
Who makes the best?
Where's the place you go, like Aladdin?
Yep.
Or what's your favorite sweet tea?
There you go.
Kind.
Yeah, because
that's the third question. So are you listening on 105.9 The Zone or streaming? Where are you listening from? And where's your go-to for sweet tea or unsweet tea, or what's your favorite brand? That's how you enter. You could win this Ole Miss bag cooler, which is really cool. And we're going to add some goodies to it, out of bounds stuff and other sponsor stuff.
We'll put it on set at 9.
Okay, great. We'll bring it out here.
Yeah, be good. They now sweet tea. Do you know what Arizona sweet tea is, right? The can, they're the tall boy cans, but they've been around for forever. They were always 99 cents.
Got it.
They were always.
I don't know if I remember that, but I get where you're going.
They they built their brand around it as well, but they also built it around staying 99 cents until they just had to move as of recent. There's like
Okay.
$1.09 or something like that.
Okay.
It's a tall boy. I think if I showed you the can, you would know exactly what I'm talking about
Okay.
because it's been around for a while.
Okay.
But if you were going to go, like, if you dialed it back, where would you get? Did you go somewhere specifically for their unsweet?
No.
No, right?
No.
Is it? Can you you can differentiate between really bad tea and really good tea, sure, but
Oh yeah, there actually, believe it or not, because I know somebody like you would think unsweet tea just doesn't taste like anything.
Yeah, I think
I heard that from Wilkes his whole life.
Right.
When I would drink
Construction paper.
there is a difference.
Okay.
There is some that's got, some kind of taste that's funky, and some that's just
Blandish.
good.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
I like the funk.
But I don't know why I drank it. But I did.
Yeah.
I don't know why we do a lot of things.
Well,
So I have no rhyme or reason.
who needs it?
Yeah.
If you had to take a whack at it, who do you think is going to take the cake here? Where do more people go for their tea?
It's going to be one of the buffet. I mean, how much sweet tea does Hamels pour over the course of a year?
Woo! God.
Okay. I mean, those places are set up. Trace Grill,
Oh.
but also Blue Plates, Martin's in Livingston,
No doubt.
Martin's downtown, Burgers, Blues Barbecue. I mean, they all have, you have to have, if you're serving lunch, you have to have it, and or you have to have a sugar tray out on the tape or whatever it's called for people to at
Yes.
least put it in there.
Yes.
If you don't already have it where people just, pour it in themselves.
How many do you think they start off? Well,
How many?
I gotta
How about
ask you.
this? How many millions of glasses of sweet tea do you think are poured in the state of Mississippi over a calendar year from January 1st to December 31st in
Sheesh.
2026? Not the whole Southeast. That would be. I don't even know.
Right. Oh my gosh.
How many glasses of sweet tea are poured from North Mississippi to South Mississippi and everywhere in between over a calendar year?
Oh, because most folks they're grabbing one glass, they're grabbing
And now
another
they're
one.
making. I mean, they're charging you $2 a glass.
Yeah,
But I get it. Some people go in there and smash six.
Just drill
act
tea.
like they hadn't had any. They've been riding in on a Campbell from the desert and need 6 glasses of tea at lunch.
getting your money's worth, baby.
That is us in the SEC footprint,
No doubt,
right?
no question.
You give me a buffet, I'm gonna put it. It's gonna be 9 inches high
You-
of food.
I can only eat 2, but I'm putting 9.
That's right.
That's how it's got to be.
You damn right.
If you could take it back, walking through the junction, or Junction or Grove, is there one that sticks out more so that you can remember?
The what now?
Like if you're walking through game day, is there a sweet tea that you can recall seeing more
I
so
don't
than
even
others?
no. I
Oh,
don't
it's always
even. It doesn't
McAllister's.
even register
Really?
on my radar. All these things you're throwing out to me, I've
Dude.
never paid attention to.
The gallons.
I don't.
Gallons.
I don't know any of it.
You gotta. Because
But yes, at every get together in the South, you are going to have a milk jug of or 2 or 3
yeah.
of sweet tea. I mean, we've hosted 30 and 40 clients or P1s before. And now that I think about it, I've ordered sweet tea from our partners on the show when we entertain. I mean, we also have good beverages.
Yeah, they have good sweet tea.
No. Like
Oh
others.
yeah, sure, yeah.
Tito's or beer or whatever. Yeah. This guy says Lipton is the OG.
Hey, that's a good one. That's disgusting.
What is this? Blueberry unsweet tea in Bar Harbor, Maine. Okay. Oh, so they're culinary up. I mean, everything gets infused with something, right?
Love that.
Okay. Steve Robertson coming up next on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line.
Why is there air?
I ask myself that every morning in the shower.
Why is there air?
ESPN 1059 The Zone, the Out of Bounds Show, brought to you by Mississippi's College Town, Starkville, Mississippi. Direct flights every day into Golden Triangle Airport from Delta and Atlanta and Dallas-Fort Worth and American Airlines. Less than 15 minutes from the campus of Mississippi State University or Older Brother Bistro or Taste Italian Kitchen or Two Brothers. Direct flights daily. Delta, Atlanta, and American Airlines, Dallas-Fort Worth. Mississippi's College Town. Visit it today. We are the Out of Bounds Show, 1059 The Zone ESPN. And we welcome in Steve Robertson, owner, genespage.com, 247 Sports. Rough weekend for Mississippi State. They're trying to turn the page. Brian O'Connor's already in the portal, Steve. So let's talk about who may be staying and who may be going. So Tomas and McPherson are in. Walk me through. Is Duke Stone a 100% they want him back?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's really anything to worry about with the core, the nucleus, especially on the pitching side. I mean, the rotation will be back, and obviously, guys like Mason Miller and Jack Bauer. I mean, I'm not worried about any of that. I mean, there's some guys obviously that were kind of fringe takes, last year, because people forget, O'Connor and them got here the day after the regional, and the portal was ready to open. They had to get to work, and then you have some guys, that get drafted, and you got to figure some things out. Some guys that don't want to stay, and so you got to fill out a roster. And so this year's a lot different because you've had your boots on the ground for a full year. They've all been your players. You know what they're capable of. You know what your needs are. So, no, I don't look for Mississippi State to lose anybody that they want to keep.
Okay, so you've got Tomas, McPherson, Stone, Bauer, and Miller coming back. Give me a couple of the young guys that couldn't get on the field that they believe can be SEC caliber guys on the mound.
Well, Parker Rhodes would probably be the top name on that list.
Okay.
I mean, that guy's got a huge arm, and he's old. He tweaked some things this year, and that's going to happen, right? I mean, you're learning to maneuver your body in a different direction and to throw harder and longer than you've ever done. And so, just like any of us, we start working out. There's going to be some change, but he's probably the first guy that jumps to mind. I know Tanner Bellevue had some moments this year where he was up and he was down, but he's another guy too with an explosive arm, and I think they can get him going in the right direction too. At least I hope so.
Okay. All right. So how many guys do you expect them, give or take, how many pitchers, not guys, we'll get to the batting position players in a minute. How many pitchers do you think that they'll target, Parker and O'Connor, in the portal?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say probably 5 or so. And I think they all have to be, bullpen pieces. But you got to get some guys that, have the potential to start. But, I think it's a scenario, too, where if I'm a pitcher in the portal and Brian O'Connor and his staff are bringing back the entire weekend rotation, I'm probably not going to look at State as an opportunity to start, right? So I think, like yesterday, that they picked up, Zach Russell from South Carolina. That guy's got 44 appearances on the college level. They're all out of bullpen. That guy knows who he is. He knows what's expected of him. So I think you've got to go get a bona fide closer, perhaps 2, but you've got to get some middle relief guys that can bridge that gap. And I think being honest with those people is important right up front, because the last thing you want is to tell some guy you got a chance to start,
right,
and then you don't, and then all of a sudden, they could be a malcontent. And culture is everything. But yeah, I mean, I think the exit meetings, I think, end up tomorrow. And you never know what's on a young man's mind, right? Until you sit on a cross with him. And so, they may sit down. I remember last year, Michael O'Brien, I talked about it a bit on my show yesterday. And Michael had a great year at Arkansas Little Rock this year. Now he's back in the portal. But, he sat down and he was very honest with O'Connor. O'Connor asked him, he goes, well, Michael, what do you want? And he goes, well, I want X number of at-bats. And then O'Connor tells him, I don't know that I can guarantee you that. But if you want to go get in the portal, we support that. However, if you don't think you're getting what you want out there, we'll still take you back, right? And I think that's two people just kind of sitting down being honest with each other. And as a result, Michael O'Brien leaves and then gets on the field somewhere else and probably boosted his stock somewhere. But I think that's what these exit meetings are about. It's not just Brian O'Connor sitting down kind of dictating terms to players. There's some give and take. And because, O'Connor doesn't want anybody here that it's not going to be happy with their role in the team. And so I think these exit interviews are extremely important. And you never know, that may get a surprise from some guy to say, hey, I just, I need to get closer to home, like we saw with James Donnelly yesterday.
Okay. Steve Robertson, they're all over baseball. And his message board, very active. People disappointed in the way it ended, but a successful year for Brian O'Connor in year one in the super regionals, and ran into a buzzsaw in Georgia. Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds show. Steve, I don't want to go too deep here. We're a few days, but just give me your takeaway on Georgia's team. You got to give Wes Johnson and Will Coggin credit. It's hard to beat a Mississippi State team 6 times in a row. They did it. You were over there at the Super Regional. I know it was intense and heartbreaking, both losses, the way that they played out. But just give me your thoughts on Georgia as a team and kind of what played out, and then we'll go over to the position players.
Well, I had a chance to visit with some of those guys, after the game on the Georgia side. And Matt Scott's a reliever that has done some really good things for Georgia. And I told him, I said, I've been covering college baseball now for almost 30 years. And I don't know if I've ever seen an offense as prolific since the LSU Gorilla Ball era.
Yeah.
And that's high praise, right? And obviously we look back at that era with a little bit of, wince in our face, but wasn't real baseball. But you look at these guys and you think, man, this isn't real baseball, because what they're doing is almost like a video game. But I'm curious to see how that offense plays at Omaha, right? Things are a little bit different there, but, you're going to, like Elijah McNamee told me first time he played in Omaha, he said they were in BP and there was a ball that would have been in the left field lounge that was about 25 feet from the track in Omaha. And he's like, hey, we got to change the way we're swinging here, And so that's the thing that'll be interesting. They've got some guys on that team that are built for Foley Field, they're built for that ballpark. So it'll be interesting to see if they can have the same level of success. But they got some other dudes out there that are hitting moonshots. It doesn't matter how far where the fence is if you're hitting at 425 feet,
That's
right?
right.
And so it'll be interesting to see how it translates. And their pitching is a little bit suspect, as you saw. And then, Dylan Bigview is a guy that took that line drive off the shin. I'm sure he'll be good to go this week, but probably not 100%. But you're going to need more than a pitcher and a half. But I know Mississippi State won an Apple championship with a starter and a half, but you had an elite bullpen. And I don't know that Georgia has that. I think there's some guys, especially when you move Aoki out of the bullpen into the starting rotation.
Golly, he's filthy, Steve. He was mixing and matching 4 different pitches. God.
Yeah, and he was at USC when they went to Omaha, right? So he's not going to be intimidated by the environment, And so I think Volchkin and Aoki are probably your 2 starters, but they got to figure out, because you still got to win a 3rd game, right, to get out of that bracket. And so it'll be interesting to kind of see if the offense can come through and kind of carry them a little bit in that bigger ballpark. And I haven't looked at wind patterns because we're not playing. But sometimes that wind blows in on a couple of days, and when it does, it's impossible to hit home runs.
Right. Yeah, good Lord. Aoki was dealing. He'll throw 80, then 91. He's just all kinds of just crazy stuff moving around. He's a bad little dude, He's kind of a modern-day Gene Morgan, Steve.
He pitches backwards, right? So, like, his predominant pitch, even though he throws everything with about the same frequency, his most frequent pitch is the curveball, 35% of the time. And so the fastball plays off of the curveball and the changeup. And he's a veteran. He's a crafty guy.
Yeah.
So it all tunnels out of the same arm slot. So it looks like the same exact pitch on release. And if you're cheating to the fastball or cheating to the curveball, he's going to make you look really silly with that changeup.
Golly, he's something. All right, let's go. GenesPage.com, 247 Sports. Steve Robertson on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. On the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Brought to you by Taste Italian Kitchen. They've got a big Father's Day dinner this Saturday. 5-course meal. Incredible. Check it out. TasteItalianKitchen.com in the Renaissance. TasteItalianKitchen.com in the Renaissance. Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds Show. All right, position players, walk me through all right, so Jacob Parker and Ryder Woodson, and then I'm going to let you have the stage from here as far as your thoughts on Aiden Teal and some of these other guys, coming back and how much they have to fill as far as the 8 position players in the DH, Steve.
Well, it's going to be interesting. You mentioned Aiden Teal. It's going to be interesting what happens with him with the draft. He was the guy last year that could have signed. It's a draft-eligible sophomore and elected to come down here and play and go compete for a national championship. He's had some injuries, but, he's got a brother in MLB. He's got great representation. I think if he wants to sign, he can sign. I just don't know if he will, right, if he'll command what he's looking for. But, State's got to get, a couple of corner infielders. And you're already off to a pretty good start, getting, Brady Chrisman and Jake Saunders from Georgia Southern and Samford, respectively. I think Chrisman may end up being a really good designated hitter candidate. He can catch, and he can play a little bit in left, but he's just a ball player, and the bat really plays, and he definitely has the hit tool. I mean, he led them in batting average, home runs, RBI as a freshman. He was the Sun Belt Freshman of the Year. And so now he's headed to Mississippi State. And Jake from Samford, that's a guy we played against for a couple of years. I think he was 9th in the Sun Belt with 17 of 21 stolen bases. He led them in most offensive statistical categories. And so you feel like, hey, you got a couple of options there, but you probably need at least one more. And you want some positional flags. And as you saw this year, when Aiden Teal went down, then all of a sudden you could plug in, Vito Valencias. And so you need some depth. And but you probably need more depth on the pitching side than anything else. But, I think they're off to a good start. But you got to get a first baseman, you got to get a third baseman, and probably get a utility guy. I think this class, assuming that the exit meetings don't bring a surprise, I think this portal class probably ends up around 10. Plus or minus 1.
All right. Who's the guy that's already on campus that couldn't get on the field that people should be thinking about?
Yeah, that's a really good question, too, and maybe Peter Marchand. The thing with him is like, he caught some in high school, and I've seen some people make some comments about his arm. We had a chance to see him in fall and spring, and, he's a guy that can run. He's very athletic. He's the guy that could play left field. I don't know that I like him in center, but he's the guy, obviously, that comes from a great baseball pedigree, the younger brother of David Marchand. But, he's a guy that I think could do some interesting things. But, you never know. Like, we knew Jacob Parker was a dude. We didn't know that he was a legendary dude already, right? And, he tied Rafael Palmeiro's freshman home run record and then basically didn't start the first 3 weeks of the season. That's pretty crazy to think about.
Wow. I didn't think of it like that, Steve. Okay.
And not to mention, what's so incredible about this Jacob Parker thing, and a lot like Rafi in this respect, he's a dogged competitor, but he's just very humble, right? The Jacob Parker has been raised so well by his parents. Yeah, he pimped a couple of home runs against Georgia. But you know what? After it's over with, the dudes at Georgia are all coming up to him, telling him what a ball player he is.
I saw that. I saw your picture in your post.
You probably saw it attributed to a lot of other people too. That's the thing about you can just take good pictures. But anyway, they just send that engagement money to me. But
right.
But anyway, he's just so down to earth. And what's interesting is I go back to, he was the guy that was expected to sign, and JoJo was expected to come to school, and then they had that one big summer, right?
Right.
And in part, Jacob Parker just destroys the home run derby contest at the Major League Baseball Showcase. And I had some people telling me that they see of the two twins, JoJo's probably the guy that's better equipped to go and played minor league baseball right now. Jacob is a guy that probably could benefit by going to college. And, man, haven't we all benefited from that, right? I mean, it's like he's going to be here for 2 more years, and he's been very open about that. And,
Good.
you know, like you put that picture out there, and people are like, oh, they're tampering. Guys, we got to stop forecasting negativity, right? He's not going anywhere, right? And I think at some point we've got to stop being so insecure as a fan base, and this is one of those
Oh,
things.
good hell! Don't get me started. All right.
We can do 4 more segments about that if you want.
No, I can't, because then I'd have to go jump off a bridge. Steve Robertson, Jeans. I get where you're going, though, and you and I have had this discussion on and off the air. Genespage.com, hit the baseball message board. Steve and his crew are pumping out all kinds of content, plus there's all sorts of debates on there that you can jump into. Genespage.com, 247 Sports. Steve Robertson joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. By the way, Steve gave us a name for North Carolina baseball, and I think Noah is going to join us in the next 20 minutes if it lines up, as far as him getting on a plane to fly to Omaha. But I think we're going to be able to squeeze him in at 9 or 9:15 if this lines up. All right, so Jacob Parker is the dog. And what you just said about him, what did you say? He tied or broke Rothy's freshman home run record, Steve? I'm sorry.
He tied it with 18. And, you know, and you figure you play one more game with Georgia, he may hit 10, right? You know, with the pitching that everybody would have had available on Monday, it could have been a church league softball game.
Good
So,
Lord, you're right. All right, so he's an absolute dude, and he was the player of the year. There's too many of them. Which one was it yesterday that he was the player of the year, Steve?
that was a perfect game, wasn't it?
Perfect game.
Or Baseball America.
Freshman
of the year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Out of Purvis, Mississippi, and that's Steve's known about this family for a long time. That's his area. And of course, the Parker boys, people have been talking about them playing baseball for years now. And do you remember who JoJo was drafted by last year, Steve? Orioles? Kansas City Royals. Okay. All right. And then Mississippi State, I mean, it was almost luck that they got him, wasn't it, Steve?
Well, he had a number in mind.
Okay.
And once that number kind of passed, he got first-round calls and he got second-round calls. But, you know, he just decided he was going to go to school. And I mean, what's so funny is I had a friend of mine in the scouting business who said, Steve, if this kid stays healthy and work hard, he's going to be a top 10 pick in 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, year one's in the books, and then goodness, you start thinking, is he the number 1 overall pick in 3 years? I mean, right? It's just incredible to think about how far he's coming. You talk about being from South Mississippi. We joke a lot, Jacob and I do, like, they'll get ready to go home for something or whatever. And I always tell them, I said, you know, you need to let your teammates know that your superpowers are fueled by Ward's chili burgers. Right? And I said, that's the secret sauce. Don't tell everybody, but as I'm saying on statewide radio, but
Right.
But anyway, we joke about that. Is that, hey, you're raised on Ward's hamburgers, there's a good chance you're going to be athletic. So.
I love that. Chili cheeseburgers from Ward's and Jacob Parker hitting bombs. All right, Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports. Did I miss anything that's like really on the next 30 days, M/S baseball, Steve?
Well, I mean, you got the portal window closes at the end of the month, but the state's going to have probably most of this class in place before the draft. But you want to save a spot or two for post draft because there's going to be a lot of guys out there, veteran guys, Drew Wires type guys that hope to get drafted, that don't, that will need somewhere to go that can help your ball club. So everybody's thinking about draft. There will be probably 1 or 2 guys added post draft that can help this ball club in 2027.
When do you think Ace Reese will be drafted, Steve?
Well, that's a good question. I think he's going to be a first rounder all the way. And one of the things that's interesting too is like some people that I talk to think that he's a left fielder, and he wants to play third base. So I think that's going to be something they have to kind of flesh out in these meetings. But
Okay.
I had somebody in the industry tell me that this is about a month ago that Ace Reese led the draft class in percentage of baseballs barreled up. And it's everybody. That's everybody in the draft. That he barreled up more balls, had a higher percentage of barrels than anybody in the country. And those are the kinds of things that Major League Baseball is looking for, right? It's not just the fact that you hit all these bombs, because every ballpark's a little bit different. I mean, like at Wake Forest, they play in a farm silo, But if you're barreling up baseballs, they feel like, hey, with an adjustment here, some strength and conditioning there, you're going to be great. And so Ace, the analytics stuff, that's what they look at. The stats are great, right? But the analytics on Ace are amazing. And so, yeah, we fully expect him to be the next first-round draft pick from Mississippi State. I'll be surprised if he's not.
All right. Yeah, so Ace in the first round. And I was trying to do you think that you mentioned Ace at left field in left, which makes sense? Do you think that they could get a look at him at first base in the minors, or no? Just left field or third base?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ace is a ball player, but I just don't know if he has the build to be a Major League Baseball first rounder, but first baseman. But when you can hit, they find a place for you to play defense.
That's right. That's right. Good point.
And he can absolutely swing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what's so fun is like when I interview all these opposing coaches ahead of the series, and there's a lot of stuff they tell you off the record, But it's so funny how everybody talks about how quick Ace's hands are. That just when you think you've got him fooled, he can foul a pitch back. He spoils so many pitches, right? He's a very difficult strikeout just because of the fact that his hand-eye coordination and his hand speed is so elite that even when he gets fooled, he's got a reasonable chance to foul a pitch off and to spoil a pitch. And there was one SEC coach that told me that last year there were so many times they had the perfect pitch called, or so they thought, and he fouled it off and fouled it off and fouled it off, and then hit 3 home runs in the weekend. He said everything on the analytics told us this would work, and it didn't work. He just adjusted and beat us.
Damn. GenesPage.com, 247 Sports. The baseball message board is on fire. Most of it's good. Some of it's people still melting down. Steve Robertson's all over the portal. Steve, thank you.
We'll see you, bud.
All right, man. By the way, Steve, I meant to thank him. I kind of did, for giving me the North Carolina hookup. Noah Weiskopf, North Carolina baseball insider. He did make it. He says he can join us before jumping on a plane to Omaha. Father's Day is brought to you by Taste Italian Kitchen. Look at the dinner they're doing Saturday night. It's incredible. TasteItalianKitchen.com. UNC baseball insider Noah Weiskopf coming up next.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is Out of Order.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9. All set? Let's go. The Zone.
Anyone else?
Oh, man.
I don't want to hear all that chit-chat stuff.
Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, driven by your next GMC Sierra truck at Fowler GMC, Pearl Brandon. Hit the website right now, FOWLER, Fowler GMC, Pearl Brandon, FowlerGMC.com. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. We welcome in UNC baseball insider Noah Weiskopf, Tar Heel 247. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line, North Carolina Ole Miss on Friday. Noah, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, getting ready to head out to Omaha. How are you?
Hey, dude, thank you. We're doing great. Thanks for taking some time. I know you're squeezed today. And we appreciate you. Let's start with Scott Forbes and what he has done. It doesn't always work out, as you know, Noah, because y'all are huge basketball fans and a great program, taking over for a legend. Forbes takes over for Mike Fox, who was unbelievable, and yet he has continued to win at a high level. Why is that, Noah?
Well, I think consistency is the number one thing with any program, any sport. If you bring in consistency, you bring in a culture that Fox had already had there. I think that's the most important thing, and he has sustained that. And I think that, even this offseason or this end of this season into the postseason, there were rumors of some other jobs, and Forbes is being connected to it by some people. But I think his dedication to Carolina, the players see that, the players understand that. So I think that's the number one biggest thing is the culture that he's brought in, the culture that he has sustained even, and being able to build on that success, I think, is the biggest thing.
Okay. So did you believe that this team could be in Omaha in January and February? I mean, was that what y'all were talking about? And did Forbes, when y'all were interviewing him, was that the buzz? Noah?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for them, the belief is always that they want to get to Omaha. There were definitely points throughout the season where you raise a couple eyebrows and you see some things and it's like, okay, and it leaves you in some doubts. But as the season progressed, and I think the later half of the season into the postseason, I think it was pretty clear that this is a team that could be in Omaha for a variety of reasons that I'm sure we'll get into. But I think that the makeup of this team, the way that they're built, the things they rely on are all things that are sustainable enough to bring you to the College World Series in Omaha. And I think that's what you're seeing. And that's what you've seen throughout the postseason already for them to be able to get out there.
Noah Weiskopf on the Out of Bounds Show, North Carolina baseball insider, Tar Heel 247, Rebs, Tar Heels. It's Carolina blue against powder blue Friday.
Yeah.
What is the absolute strength? What's the number one strength of this team, Noah?
That's a good question. I think resiliency is the number one thing that comes to mind. But in terms of like an on-the-field thing, I really point to two things because as of late, they've gotten the pitching that they've needed, the starting pitching. They need the starting pitchers to go length. And I think that's really what allowed them to win a lot of games here in the regional, super regionals, is Ryan Lynch, their starter, was able to go a long way in his starts. And then Jason DeCaro as well, obviously, with the complete game two-hitter against USC and a potential elimination game if they were to lose that one. So those are their two aces. Those are the two guys that they trust the most in terms of starters. And then you have in relief, you also have Caden Glauber, co-freshman of the year, that can come in, and he even started that game 3 against USC. And you have Walker McDuffie, who had a tough outing in game 1 there against USC, gave up that grand slam. But I think those two guys in relief, there's two starters, are the ones primarily that they're going to rely on. There's some other guys still that are, obviously, they're going to need to step up. But I think pitching for them is the number one thing because we know what they can do when they hit the ball. And they're not one of those teams that hits the ball over the fence a ton. They're a team that can play gap to gap. They can hit a single, 3 consecutive singles to score a run. They can manufacture runs lay down a bunt, get a sac fly, those kinds of things. So they can score in a variety of different ways. And typically in Omaha, that's something that I think, can help teams, specifically Carolina, if they can manufacture runs when they need to.
Okay. All right. So starting is the bullpen better than the starting pitching, or which one's?
I guess it really just depends on the day. There have been times where the bullpen has really picked up the starting pitching this season. There's been times where their star pitchers haven't had the outings that they wanted, haven't went the distance, and then a kid like Caden Glauber, true freshman, comes in and he's able to sort of go 4 innings of scoreless baseball and put them in a position to win the game. So I think it really just depends on the day. But I do think that, that we've seen the flashes of all 4 of those pitchers I mentioned, the 2 in relief, and then the 2 starters, and they've even started some of those relief pitchers like Caden Glauber started that game 3. So it really just depends on the day, but I think if all 4 of those guys are at their best, I think it's going to be really tough for any team in Omaha to beat Carolina.
All right, let's go to the batting lineup. What is the strength of this team at the plate, Noah?
Yeah, well, I really do think it's the ability to just go gap to gap. A lot of these guys, they don't try to do too much. They don't try to power the ball over the fence. They have that ability. Some of those guys are big power hitters, but they don't necessarily beat you all the time with their home run hitting ability. These guys are able to string together multiple good at-bats. They make pitchers work. That's the biggest thing. Starting at the top of the order, Jake Schaffner makes pitchers work. He can get on base, and then they can move over. They can steal. They can lay down bunts. I think they're really smart at the plate, too, which helps a lot. But I think the biggest thing for them hitting-wise is they're able to get guys in runners in scoring position, and they struggled with this in the Super Regionals of getting them in. But at the most important times, when they needed to most, they were able to get guys in. So they actually are in a little bit of a slump in hitting with runners in scoring position in that instance. But the last time they had that opportunity, they hit a walk-off to go to Omaha. So I think their biggest strength is their ability to get runs in, manufacture runs, those kinds of things, and hit gap to gap. In Omaha, that's a big field out there. So I think that their ability to do that will help them. And then they can't hit the long ball. So there's going to be times where they can get a guy or 2 on, and then the guy puts it over the fence. Obviously, those things help as well.
All right, I think we've got time for one more. Noah Weiskopf, North Carolina baseball insider on the Out of Bounds show. What about fielding? Strength, weakness? Walk me through it.
Yeah, Carolina has always been a team that is going to be really good defensively for the most part, and they pride themselves in that. So, not really saying a bunch, but I think that they're pretty sound defensively, and they pride themselves on that. When it comes to the outfield, when it comes to hitting cutoff guys, when it comes to making plays in the infield, turning double plays, they've been really good at that as well. But defensively is one of those things that Carolina has always prided itself on. They want to be one of the best defensive teams in the country. And I think for the most part this year, they have lived up to that. They've been a really sound defensive team. They don't give up they don't have a bunch of errors here and there, but really they're pretty consistent in the field as well.
All right. And last one real quick. I've got about a minute. Do they like to steal? Are they aggressive on the base paths or no?
Nothing crazy, nothing over the top. When there's those opportunities, they absolutely take them, and they can steal, especially at the top of the order. A guy like Jake Schaffner, Owen Hull, their leading RBI guy who typically will hit third. Those types of guys, they can steal. They're not overly aggressive. I wouldn't say that they're one of the crazy stealing teams in the country, but they can absolutely move on the bases, and it's something Jake Schaffner especially can do particularly well.
Noah, thank you so much, man. Have a great trip out to Omaha, and we appreciate you working with us in your schedule today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
Noah Weiskopf, North Carolina Tar Heel insider on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. Rebs Tar Heels Friday.
Oh, look at that.
Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds show. Yeah.
Never say never, but never. That'll be the last time that I address it.
Me too. Good morning to you. Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We'll be live from Greenville Country Club. Again, I don't know what year this is, 12 or 13 or something, but the Steve and Gwen, because Gwen makes sure everything goes. But Steve and Gwen Azar, wonderful people, host a bunch of people from all over the country. And it's his Delta Soul charity golf event that raises money for arts programs in the Delta. And we'll be there tomorrow and Friday. And we look forward to having Azar on and Alex English. Absolute baller. Absolute shot caller, no doubt. Just 14, 16 feet. Money. Maybe the best ever mid-range. I mean, he's got to be in the discussion as far as mid-range scorer, prolific. He led the league in the 1980s in scoring. Alex English. So,
Had no idea. That is so tight.
Well, I like to educate you
I know, and I appreciate
on
that.
stuff other than like Manny Ramirez or
Whoa,
whatever nonsense
easy.
you're talking about.
No, easy. That's a champion you're talking about there.
Who?
A champion.
Okay.
He's a champ.
You know, English wore number 2.
Yeah.
I can't wait. He played at South Carolina for Frank McGuire and then drafted by the Bucks, but ends up having, the bulk, the sizzle of his career with the Denver Nuggets. So that'll be fun.
Did you say that when he was at South Carolina, they were not a part of the SEC?
No,
Okay.
they didn't join the SEC till 1992
Gotcha. What
Yeah.
were they?
with Arkansas.
What?
I don't remember if they were in the ACC or if there was another conference like the Metro or
Right.
I don't remember who was what. It's, I remember some of the teams, but or where they were, but not all. Hey, I want to let you know that Taste Italian Kitchen has a Father's Day dinner this Saturday. Set sail for an unforgettable Father's Day. Experience a special evening of expertly paired courses and Jefferson's Ocean Bourbon at Taste Italian Kitchen in the Renaissance. TasteItalianKitchen.com, TasteItalianKitchen.com. And that's a hell of a Father's Day meal this weekend. What you got?
How'd you pull that?
What's that?
South Carolina. That's impressive. They were. You nailed it. So they before the SEC.
They were in the ACC?
They were that, but they had the Metro League.
Yeah,
they were
the
in
Metro
they were-
Conference.
so they went Metro, but it was ACC. But they were originally in the Southern Conference.
Okay.
So I guess they
I
got booted.
No, they just moved.
Moved. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Southern Conference, ACC, and then Metro. What the heck is the Metro?
The Metro was Southern Miss, and I think Louisville, and
so kind of CUSA-ish.
yeah, that's
Okay.
what it evolved into. And then when I started in 2003, and this is ESPN 105.9 The Zone for our listeners. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. When I started in 2003, Conference USA still had this. That's when everything unraveled for Southern Miss. Not their fault.
Right.
But all the major metropolitan markets left the Conference USA in 03-ish, somewhere in there. Because I remember talking about it, and I said, it's over, and people thought I was crazy. I don't know a lot, but we get sport and business and sports marketing. We were the first to come on the air and say that once Louisville, Marquette, DePaul, and Cincinnati left, that's your population base to add all that together and deliver it to a network.
Right, yeah.
And once they all went their whatever ways, obviously Louisville's in the ACC today,
Right.
Cincinnati's in the Big 12. It wasn't like that exactly, but Louisville's in the ACC, and the Natty is in the Big 12, and hell, I can't remember where Marquette and DePaul are.
Gotcha.
But DePaul's in Chicago, Marquette's in Milwaukee, and Cincinnati. You know where they are in Louisville. You know where those are pretty big. Well, Chicago's huge, but pretty big metropolitan areas, and that was the sizzle.
So the CUSA was the Metro and the Great Midwestern Conference
And
combined.
They merged.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then they went Conference USA, and then it split again. We just kept having babies or moving around. You had to go where you had to go.
Right. Okay.
And that happened. And I just remember the first few months on the air when I started in 2003, that was what we were studying things like that 5 years before in grad school, as far as conference, before people were talking about conference realignment, we were going over that in 1999.
Dang.
So I was fortunate to be around, professors who, they had already been in the private world, and they understood two things: fundraising, which was great because the program was driven by that, and that's sales. And then we were talking conference realignment daily, which is fun. That was school.
Yeah.
I told you one semester we got to be NFL GMs.
That's cool.
And that was our whole course that semester. But anyway, was Conference USA. And when it imploded, it just wasn't a good landing spot for Southern Miss and some of the other teams. It was just tough.
Was Florida State? They were
in the Metro.
They were, so then so they were technically independent. Is that what that would have been considered as at the time? And then they joined ACC in 90. Played their first year in 91.
Went from a conference to I don't know how long they've been in the ACC.
Since 91. They played their first year in 91. They agreed to terms in 90.
I did not realize they went that early. Okay. So before that, they were in the Metro Conference.
Correct. Bobby Bowden's first official ACC football season was 1992.
That was right around Charlie Ward. That was kind of their first. That may not have been their first star quarterback because Bowden was winning in the 80s. But he took the job from West Virginia, which is still incredible that he left.
Dang.
West Virginia was considered a better job at that time.
Really?
And Florida State was a women's school forever, and so they were not really known for much. And then Bowden left. I don't know if they didn't give him what he wanted, or if he felt like if he could see the future and that Florida was booming and all that. I have read it. I've read the story, but I don't remember the exact. I don't know if they cut his funding, didn't give him something. I mean, that was in the 70s. Nobody really had any money. But for Bowden to leave a West Virginia, which was much more considered a college football, not that they were Ohio State,
right,
but a college football team, and go down to a damn dust town, tumbleweed town in Tallahassee. That's kind of on the panhandle, kind of when you're diving down into whatever you want to say, north central Florida. And him to build what he did is remarkable. Much like, a Bill Snyder at Kansas State, a Beamer at Vitek, and some other guys.
Moved closer to his wife's family.
Oh, well, that does it. When the wife says, I would like to do this, and then they usually come back with, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But it worked out for Bobby.
Oh,
He had a gift. He was a preacher, salesman, motivator, and promoter.
Golly.
And nobody gave a damn about Florida State anything. And he put that school and that program on the map. And, of course, you student recruit off of football. And today they're a much bigger – they're not as big as they think.
Right.
Just because some things have shifted out from under them. But they are obviously the Florida State Seminoles are a much bigger brand. Giveaway one more time. Enter in to win the Ole Miss bag cooler and other goodies. Tell us how you're listening. 105.9 The Zone or streaming. Where you're listening from. And your favorite place to drink sweet tea or unsweet tea, or your favorite brand of tea or something else. On the text line, 601-885-3776. Don't forget that Mudbugs is open all weekend. Best crawfish in Mississippi.